What up, y'all? Conscious One coming back at you. So we're gonna talk a little bit about stolen food. We're gonna talk about some gig red, and then we're gonna talk a little bit about Jiffy Lube. First of all, I just had an incident where a driver drops off food at the front door, takes a photo of the food, and I'm like, "Oh, goody, the food is here." And I open that door, and the food is gone. Why would a driver take somebody's food, yo? See, this is what I mean about working for Gig Red and how every time Dick and Harry is on that platform and how Gig Red along with Gig Black are both experimental type of stuff. But Gig Red is worse because they allow every time Dick and Harry, you don't even have to have insurance. They don't check for nothing with Gig Red. They don't even have a picture of the driver. They don't check who's delivering your food. There's no credibility. This is why I say I know we are under experimentation, folks. One gig does this, and the other one will do the exact opposite because it's all an experiment. Now, I was issued a refund, no big deal. It was only a $9 order. I got a coupon, whatever. But why would a driver or whoever's driving the car, I don't care, even if it's some derelict driving a car who ain't supposed to be driving a car? See, guys, do you understand how dangerous that is when you have people working for a gig platform and they are driving around to people's addresses and you don't really have any information about who these people is, what kind of car they driving or what kind of insurance. It's amazing. It's just astonishing that Gig Red actually allows this stuff to happen. So all the demonic stuff that happened in this place is allowed. And it's it just seems to be like this is what they want. They want anarchy. Otherwise, why wouldn't they tighten everything up so that nothing happens? Um, I notice sometimes how on Gig Black, if I have a drop off, I drop off somebody's food, I have to get a PIN code from that individual. Whether the individual who's ordering the food is trying to do something shady, and then maybe next time you drop off to that person, or next time that person has an order, they have to give the driver a PIN code. And sometimes that happens on Gig Black. My question is, if the gigs really cared about you getting your food and everything going proper, why wouldn't they just initiate that every single body you drop off food to has to give you that pin code? Meaning, the only way that you can know that that food was dropped off and that the customer actually received the food is if you get that pin code, that 4-digit pin code from the customer. If you don't get that pin code from the customer, that means the food wasn't dropped off, and then the driver will be held accountable for not dropping off that food. Or you can't have any stolen food when somebody has to give you a password to drop off the food. Now they can do it either by opening the door if they still want to have it a leave at the door option. They can leave it at the door, and then the person ordering the food can just text the driver and give them the pin code. Nobody should be dropping off anything at all unless they get a passcode from the customer. I don't care if it's Gig Red, Gig Black, Amazon Flex. I don't care what business you're dealing with. Why won't they just install a system where a customer has to give the person dropping off the order a passcode? Let's say the person is not home for any reason, the customer. Well, then in that case, the driver would text the customer and say, I need that passcode. And if the customer texts that person back the passcode and the driver enters that passcode correctly, then nobody is held liable except the customer who paid for the food or paid for the order. And then nobody can accuse anybody of stealing, and then the gigs will know exactly who's lying. But they don't want to do that, do they? That's why I say, folks, we live in a state of anarchy. No one is to be trusted. Everything is to be assumed that people have ulterior motives, no matter who they is, no matter how. righteous they sound. Because guess what? It ain't about what somebody is saying, it's about what they doing. Always remember that. What are people doing? Not what are they saying. What are they doing? That's why I'm very transparent on what I'm doing in my life at this point. But yeah, that's how the gigs could just get rid of that. But they don't want to do that, do they? They want this demonic stuff to go on the planet. They want chaos. They want confusion. This is what they want. Very simple. So you telling me a multi-million-dollar business can't think of this on their own, right? Amazing, folks. Amazing. Another thing I want to talk about is how every Jiffy Lube in the Chicago suburbs is hiring. Guys, I would never take my car to Jiffy Lube because when you see every Jiffy Lube is hiring in the suburbs, that means there's no accountability. That means you're hiring, once again, anytime Dick and Harry to do a position that they're not trained to do. Even when I went to the car shop yesterday, they had some young man who looked like they just hired off the streets. And he had no skill whatsoever. This is why I made a video in the past talking about some. No, they don't care about your experience. They don't really care about your experience. They don't really care, what you know. They would rather hire an immigrant than a skilled male worker. They would rather hire an immigrant or somebody that they can push around. It's no such thing as a man being a skilled worker going out and getting a job fair and square. Those days are gone. If those days were still here, then I would get a normal job instead of doing gigs. But I see how these businesses operate. I see all the immigration, and I know exactly what's going on. They do not intend on hiring any bona fide skilled male worker. And if they do hire you, it'll be only because they need that position filled for a few months, and then they'll find a way to get rid of you and find an immigrant to replace you, or somebody who doesn't have any skill who they can just boss around. So most of the times you go to a Jiffy Lube, it's really only one person that really knows what they're doing that works there, and that person might not even be there when you get there. I went to a place or a shop a month ago. I asked these dudes could they replace a brake light, which by the way I ended up replacing it myself. They told me they're not allowed to do that. I'm like, what? I'm like, oh man, this stuff is crazy. Yeah, people probably suing these places because people are taking their cars to Jiffy Lube. Their cars are getting damaged, or oil leaks are just popping up out of nowhere. Don't know how it got there. All they know is they went to Jiffy Lube. Next thing you know, their oil is leaking out of the car and stuff like that. It's a lot of crazy stuff going on out here, y'all. And so the reason every Jiffy Lube is hiring is because no sane man is going to go work for a company that he knows he's not going to get paid. Not only is he not going to get paid for it's the whole thing. The whole system is being brought down, folks, on purpose. No man is going to go want to go work. Sane man is going to go work at no Jiffy Lube when he's not allowed to do little things on the side. See, they don't want you to do things on the side. Let's say you work at a Jiffy Lube, a customer comes there, and a customer decides to give you their phone number and confidentiality and say, "Hey, I need this work done on my car. Do you know how to do this?" And you say, "Yeah, I know how to do it." Well, can I hook up? Can I hook up with you later and maybe you can come fix this? Sure. You're not allowed to do that when you work for Jiffy Lube. You can get fired. You see how everything is under control and compartmentalized, um, and why there's so much anarchy going on because they're not allowing men to do what they're supposed to do. That's why, and it's going to lead to more crime, and they're going to have to build more prisons. They do not intend for men to go out and have a job whereas they can take care of their wife and their children. They don't want that anymore. That's not They don't want the man to have any control whatsoever. And a woman who thought the system was on her side is starting to slowly wake up and realize that the system is actually not on her side either. It'd be different if a woman could take a man to court for child support, and then she wouldn't have to work anymore. Okay, because guess what? Going after a guy for child support, what is how much is that child support? Men are not making money out here, so how you gonna get somebody for child support? They're gonna the judge is gonna go by what the man is making. He's gonna see that he ain't making diddly squat. So what benefits a woman to screw over a man, through having children? It doesn't benefit them to do that. And then on top of that, they still have to go work like a man. It's a no-win situation for everybody right now, y'all. This is why uh, I'm solo. This is why I isolate myself, because no one is to be trusted anymore. No one, no one. It's a sad, sad state of affairs, y'all. But again, going back to this gig red thing, I mean, who would? I mean, maybe y'all can help me out. Who would steal some food? Like, I'm trying to think. Okay, let's say the driver stole the food. Who is that food? Where is that food going to? Is it going in the stomach of the driver? That really doesn't make sense. So the driver is gonna waste all his gas money just to steal a $15 order of some food? That doesn't make sense. Or maybe the driver works for a community where everybody needs to be fed and their job is to go out and steal food. That that doesn't really add up either, because eventually they'll be kicked off the platform. And so I'm thinking, y'all, who in the world would just steal some food? Or maybe the portals are open up, y'all, and there's just things that are disappearing and reappearing. Again, we don't know what you talk about opening the portals, CERN. Technically, y'all, we don't really know if they're actually able to make things appear and disappear. Now that may sound a bit out on the fringe. I understand it. It does sound crazy. But who, I mean, it doesn't make any sense why somebody would steal some food. To give to who? Where? I mean, food stamps ain't been cut out yet, y'all. Have they or have they? I don't know. I don't check on things like that. Is food stamps gone? I mean, this type of stuff is like wow. So we're in a system of anarchy, y'all. We're in a system of just total anarchy. Nothing is gonna go right. Nothing is intended to go right until they have everybody on their knees and at the mercy of the government. You see. Um, I mean, the beast system is just really it's here and it's in full effect. Now we'll talk about some more stuff, but I want to just keep this video and audio simple. But yeah, who would steal some goddamn food, man, and for what reason? That's what I want to know. Maybe y'all can help me out with that. And yeah, nobody wants to work at no Jiffy Lube. If Jiffy Lube was the type of job that actually intended on keeping their workers and paying them and allowing them to take tips and allowing them to do things on the side if they want to if it's confidential between them and the person, but they call that soliciting. Even though if a customer approaches you and wants to hook up with you on the side, that's still called soliciting, because that person giving you their phone number just might be working for an agency that's going around making sure everybody that gives their personal information is fired from that Jiffy Lube. So bottom line is, guys don't see it. There's no benefit in working on these jobs anymore, y'all. That's the whole point, and that's why no guys are doing it. They like, well, what's the point of this? There is no point to it. You know that these jobs are not going to pay you a livable wage. So what's the point of doing it? You know. Um, but yeah, I just want to tell y'all that, and yeah, everybody, anytime somebody drop off something through this delivery stuff that everybody has grown accustomed to, there should always be a pin code given. If the customer ordering the product does not give the driver a pin code, that means that food is not going to be dropped off. That's how I know this ain't about money. So can you imagine all the hundreds of thousand people that are telling Gig Red, "Hey, I didn't get my food." Maybe some of the customers can lie about not getting their food. So why would Gig Red? Why would these places be so happy to issue you a refund like it's no problem? And we think this is about money. Why would Amazon and all these places risk losing millions of dollars, all because they don't want to instill a system where a person has to give the driver a passcode to receive the item? That doesn't make sense, does it, guys? So we know obviously they are not concerned with losing millions of dollars. That's not the concern here. Obviously, money is not the object of concern here in this type of situation. This is utter and total experimentation. And I still feel like I have a long way to go to learn what's exactly is going on. But I just want to tell y'all that, and I'll let y'all later. Peace.